Some nights arrive quietly, like a soft whisper carried by the wind, and yet they change everything. For Emily, tonight was one of those nights. She sat alone at the old Riverside Bridge, a place she often visited when the world felt too heavy and her heart felt too tired. She wasn't running away from life. She was simply looking for a place where she could breathe again. The sky above her was painted in muted shades of lavender and blue, as if the universe had dipped its brush into her emotions. The river shimmered gently beneath her, reflecting the stars that seemed to blink in quiet understanding. Emily closed her eyes. She let the cool breeze brush against her skin, hoping it would carry away just a little bit of the sadness she had been holding for far too long. She didn't expect anyone to join her tonight. This bridge wasn't a popular place. It belonged to those who wanted silence more than company. But destiny, as always, had its own plans. A soft footstep approached, gentle, hesitant, almost careful not to disturb her peace. Emily opened her eyes and turned slightly. There he was, a stranger, a young man with a calm face, soft eyes, and a worn-out sketchbook tucked under his arm. He wasn't smiling, but something about him felt warm, like the last light of sunset that refuses to disappear. He looked at her for a moment, not in curiosity, but in recognition, as if he knew exactly how it felt to sit alone on a quiet night, searching for a breath of comfort. He spoke gently, his voice low and soothing. "Do you mind if I sit here?" Emily blinked, not expecting his softness, not expecting anything at all. She shook her head. "No, it's okay." He smiled slightly, just enough to warm the air between them, and sat a respectful distance away. A silence followed, not awkward, but peaceful. One of those rare moments when two strangers feel like they're sharing something without saying anything at all. The river flowed steadily. The stars breathed softly. And for the first time that evening, Emily felt a little less alone. The stranger placed his sketchbook on his lap. His fingers brushed the edges with a familiarity that told Emily he used it often, perhaps too often. He didn't open it, he just held it. Emily found herself curious. She wasn't one to start conversations easily, but something about him lowered her walls. She exhaled gently. "Do you draw?" He looked up, surprised in a kind, gentle way. "Only the things I don't want to forget." Emily wasn't sure why, but his words touched something deep inside her. Maybe because she knew exactly what it felt like to want to hold on to moments before they slipped away. He glanced at the sky, as if searching for the right words. "I'm Noah." Emily hesitated, just for a breath, and then answered quietly, "I'm Emily." Noah repeated her name under his breath, as if testing its softness. Something about the way he said it felt like a promise. The breeze grew gentle again. The river shimmered brighter, and the stars above seemed to lean just a little closer, witnessing the beginning of a story they already knew was meant to be written. The night deepened slowly, wrapping the world in shades of blue and quiet silver. But the silence between Emily and Noah no longer felt lonely. It felt shared. Emily rested her arms on the railing of the bridge, watching the faint ripples dance across the river. Noah glanced at her gently, his gaze soft but observant, almost as if he could feel the emotions she wasn't saying out loud. He finally opened his sketchbook. The pages rustled like old memories being awakened. Emily tried not to look, but curiosity tugged at her. He noticed her glance and smiled slightly. "Do you want to see?" Emily hesitated. She didn't want to intrude, but there was something inviting about the sincerity in his voice. She nodded softly. Noah flipped the pages slowly, not rushing, as if each drawing carried a part of him he was sharing carefully. There were sketches of the river, the sunset, the silhouettes of trees that lined the path behind them. None of them were perfect, but each one felt honest, filled with emotions too fragile to put into words. Emily traced a line on one page, not touching, just following its shape with her eyes. "They feel peaceful." Noah's eyes warmed. "That's what I look for. Moments that feel like a breath." Emily looked up at him. "Do you have a lot of those moments?" He gave a quiet, almost sad smile. "Not as many as I'd like." Emily understood. She understood all too well. A soft breeze lifted her hair, and Noah watched a strand fall gently over her cheek. Not intensely, not boldly, just noticing. The kind of noticing that feels safe. She tried to tuck it behind her ear, but it slipped again. Noah reached out, slowly, gently, giving her every chance to pull away. She didn't. His fingertips brushed her cheek as he tucked the strand behind her ear. Emily's breath caught, not loudly, but enough for her heart to whisper its surprise. Noah stepped back immediately, respectful and careful. "Sorry, it was distracting you." Emily shook her head quickly, her cheeks warm. "No, it's okay." Silence settled again, not awkward, but sweet. A kind of silence that builds a bridge between two people who didn't know they needed one. After a while, Noah closed his sketchbook and leaned his back against the railing. "Do you come here often?" Emily nodded. She looked at the water. "Whenever the world feels too loud." He looked at the river with her. "Funny, I come here for the same reason." She glanced at him, and for the first time, their eyes held just a moment longer than strangers normally allow. Noah looked away first, not out of shyness, but delicacy. Emily hugged her arms lightly, not from cold, but from the unfamiliar warmth settling in her chest. Noah noticed. "Are you cold?" Emily shook her head. "No, just thinking." Noah nodded gently. "Thinking can be cold sometimes." Emily smiled softly, the kind of smile that hides a small ache. "Were you drawing something before you saw me?" Noah hesitated, then nodded. Something or someone. Emily's heart fluttered, an unexpected, quiet flutter. "Someone?" Noah didn't answer right away. He just looked at the river. Sometimes you see something you weren't planning to see, and it stays with you. Emily felt her breath soften, as if the night air had suddenly turned warmer. Before she could speak, a distant bell chimed from across the town, a gentle reminder that the night was getting late. Emily stood slowly. "I should go." Noah straightened, a brief flicker of disappointment in his eyes. so faint but real. Will I see you again? Emily looked down, smiling just a little. I come here often. If the world feels loud, you might find me again. Noah nodded once, softly. Then I hope the world stays loud. Emily's heart slipped a beat. Just one. She turned to leave, taking a few steps down the path before glancing back at him. Noah stood exactly where she left him, watching the river with that same quiet depth. The stars reflected in his eyes, or maybe the stars were reflecting him. Emily walked home with a feeling she hadn't felt in years. A gentle feeling, a hopeful one. The feeling that maybe, just maybe, something beautiful had quietly begun. The next few days passed slowly, but not in the lonely way they usually did for Emily. Something inside her felt lighter, as if someone had opened a small window in a room she'd kept closed for years. She found herself returning to the bridge every evening, pretending it was for the quiet, though her heart knew better. She wondered if Noah would come again. She wondered if he had thought about her. She wondered if the night they shared had meant something to him too. On the fourth evening, as the sky glowed soft gold, Emily arrived earlier than usual. The river shimmered beneath her, a quiet companion as she leaned on the railing, letting the wind play with her thoughts. Minutes passed. Then, footsteps, gentle, familiar, unhurried. Emily smiled without turning around. "You're late!" A warm chuckle broke through the cool evening air. "I didn't know we had a time." Emily turned to face him. Noah stood there, hands in his pockets, hair slightly tousled by the wind, eyes carrying the same softness she remembered from their first night. He walked to her side. "But I tried not to be too late." Emily looked forward again, trying to hide the warmth spreading across her face. "I wasn't sure you'd come back." Noah leaned on the railing beside her. "I wasn't sure you wanted me to." Emily's voice softened, barely above a whisper. "I did." The wind carried her words gently, as if protecting something fragile. Noah smiled, a small, grateful smile, the kind that makes hearts unfold. He held his sketchbook loosely. "I drew something today." Emily raised an eyebrow. "The river? The trees?" Noah shook his head slowly. "No." He opened to a fresh page, a soft pencil drawing of a girl standing on a bridge, looking at the stars as though asking them a question. Emily stared. Her chest tightened, not from pain, but from recognition. "Is that me?" Noah didn't hide it. "It's the way I saw you the first night." Emily swallowed gently, the emotion in her throat too full to ignore. "I didn't know I looked like that." Noah spoke softly. "People rarely know when they look beautiful." Emily turned away, not to avoid him, but to steady the feeling inside her that was growing warmer with every word he spoke. They stood together, gazing at the river that had become their shared space. After a quiet moment, Emily asked, "Why do you draw?" Noah hesitated, long enough that she looked at him again. His eyes held something deeper now. "Because some moments don't last long enough." Emily felt her breath catch. "And you want to keep them?" Noah nodded. "Especially the ones I didn't expect." For a moment, the world around them seemed to soften. The river flowed gently. The sky dimmed into soft blue. The breeze wrapped around them like a quiet embrace. Emily lowered her gaze. I used to write. Noah turned, intrigued. Stories? She nodded. Not good ones. Then they were probably honest. Emily laughed softly. They were sad. Noah's voice softened. Sad stories come from people who feel deeply. Emily looked at him, really looked. There was no judgment in his eyes, only understanding, only quiet acceptance. She inhaled, letting the air fill the spaces inside her that had felt empty for so long. "Why do you come to the bridge?" she asked him gently. Noah considered the question. To think. Emily waited. He added, softer. To breathe, then even softer. To not feel alone. Emily felt something inside her shift, a small, delicate ache that blossomed into empathy. "You don't seem lonely." Noah gave a faint smile. Lonely people rarely do. The honesty in his voice felt like a hand reaching for hers, not to hold, but to let her know he understood her shadows because he carried his own. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of rose and amber. Noah closed his sketchbook. "Emily." She looked up. "Thank you for coming back." Emily blinked. Her voice was quiet, but full. "Yes, I think I was waiting to." Neither of them moved closer. Neither of them needed to. But something between them shifted gently. A small gravity pulling their hearts just a little nearer. And the evening breathed around them, warm and slow, as if the world itself was learning how to soften. A light rain began to fall, not enough to soak the world, just enough to soften it. The droplets shimmered like tiny stars as they touched the surface of the river, sending ripples of silver outward. Emily and Noah took shelter beneath the small wooden awning by the bridge, a place where the rain whispered instead of falling loudly. Noah shook the water from his hair, laughing softly at how quickly the sky changed. Emily watched him with a warmth she didn't notice steadying inside her chest. He placed his sketchbook on the bench and looked out at the rain. "It's strange, isn't it?" Emily tilted her head. "What is?" "How rain makes everything quieter, even the things inside you." Emily smiled faintly. "Maybe that's why I like it." Noah nodded slowly. "Me too." They sat side by side, their shoulders close, not touching, but near enough that warmth began to gather in the small space between them. A bird fluttered beneath the awning, shaking droplets from its feathers before settling on a wooden beam above them. Noah watched it with an almost childlike gentleness. Some things just want a place to rest. His words were simple, but they sank into Emily with surprising weight. She hugged her knees lightly, letting the rain soothe her. After a long moment, Noah's voice broke the silence. Soft, thoughtful. "Can I ask you something?" Emily looked over. "Of course. Why do you always look a little sad, even when you smile?" Emily froze, not because the question was unwelcome, but because she had never been asked it with such care. She swallowed, feeling her heart tremble in a familiar, fragile way. "I'm not sad." Noah waited, not pushing, just gently holding the silence open for her truth to walk through it. Emily looked down at her hands. "Just tired." Noah's eyes softened. "From what?" Her voice came out quiet, almost too honest. "From giving more love than I ever received." The rain fell a little harder, as if the sky understood her. Noah shifted slightly toward her. his expression filled with warmth and something deeper, something aching. "Emily," his voice was barely above a whisper, "you deserve someone who gives back everything you give." Emily felt her eyes sting, not with sadness, but with relief. No one had ever said that to her, not once. Noah rubbed the back of his neck, as if unsure whether he had said too much. "Sorry," he murmured. "I didn't mean to." "No." Her interruption was soft but firm. She looked at him with eyes that finally allowed themselves to be seen. "Thank you." A quiet warmth passed between them, gentle and slow, like the beginning of trust. Noah leaned back against the wall of the awning, letting the rhythm of the rain fill the silence. Emily rested beside him, her shoulder brushing his lightly. It wasn't intentional, but neither of them moved. The contact was faint, but it sent a soft electricity through both of them, a warmth that wasn't overwhelming, just comforting. Emily exhaled shakily. "I don't usually talk like this." Noah looked at her sideways. "Maybe you just needed the right person listening." Her heart fluttered. Softly, unexpectedly, the rain slowed again, becoming a gentle mist. Emily looked out at the river, thinking aloud. "Do you ever feel like you've been living in the wrong chapter?" Noah smiled, sadly, knowingly, all the time. Emily turned to him. "How do you fix it?" Noah tapped his sketchbook lightly. "You don't fix it. You start a new chapter, even if the page is blank." Emily breathed in, deeply. Maybe for the first time in years, the air felt cleaner. The night felt softer. Her heart felt possible. She looked at Noah, really looked at him. His hair slightly damp, his eyes steady and warm, his presence gentle enough to let her stay exactly as she was. "Do you ever start drawing without knowing what it'll become?" He nodded. "Every day," Emily whispered. "That's how my life feels right now." Noah's expression softened even more. "Then maybe you just needed a new sketch." Emily held his gaze, longer than she ever had before, not because she was searching for something, but because she felt, for the first time, that she didn't have to. The rain faded into silence, leaving them with nothing but the soft glow of twilight and the quiet blooming of something fragile and new. The next evenings came quietly, each one softer than the last. The bridge became their place, a place where words felt lighter and silence felt safe. Emily and Noah settled into a rhythm, one neither of them talked about, but both of them felt. Some nights, Noah would sketch while Emily watched the river shimmer. Other nights, Emily would talk while Noah listened, with the kind of attention that makes the world slow down. Moments passed like warm breaths, unhurried, uncomplicated, and beautifully gentle. But softness, no matter how comforting, often awakens old fears. Tonight, Emily walked toward the bridge with a heart heavier than usual. The world had felt loud again, pulling at memories she wished would stay quiet. Her footsteps slowed as she reached the railing. Noah was already there. He looked up, offering her that familiar, fragile smile. But tonight, Emily didn't smile back. She kept her arms wrapped around herself, her eyes distant. Noah straightened, concern softening his expression. "Emily, what's wrong?" She shook her head gently. Nothing, just a long day. But Noah knew her rhythm by now. He knew the difference between tired and hurting. He stepped closer, carefully, making sure she felt space to breathe. "You don't have to pretend with me." Emily exhaled shakily, a quiet breath that gave away more than she meant. Her voice trembled softly. "Sometimes I get scared, Noah." Noah's eyes warmed, his posture softening. "Of what?" She hesitated, as if choosing the right words felt like stepping barefoot across something delicate. "Of letting someone in." Noah didn't interrupt. He didn't rush. He just waited, gentle, patient, giving her the time she needed to unfold. Emily looked down at the river. "Every time I cared for someone, they left." A pause, a breath, a truth she rarely allowed herself to say. "And I don't know if my heart can do it again." Her voice cracked, not loudly, but in a way that revealed years of quiet hurt. Noah lowered his gaze, his heart tightening in empathy. "I know that feeling," he said quietly. Emily looked at him, surprised. Noah exhaled. "People see the quiet ones and think we don't feel things deeply." He swallowed softly. "But we do, maybe too deeply." For the first time, Emily noticed a shadow in his eyes, a softness tinged with something unspoken. "Who did you lose?" she asked gently. Noah hesitated, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Someone who taught me that love isn't always enough to make people stay." Emily felt her chest ache, not from fear this time, but from recognition. Two hearts quietly broken in different ways, meeting in the same fragile evening. Noah leaned on the railing beside her, close but not overwhelming. "Emily, I'm not here to take anything from you." She looked at him, her eyes glossy with emotion. He continued, soft, steady. "I'm here because, for the first time in a long time, being somewhere feels right." Emily's breath caught. Noah held her gaze, not to push her, but to anchor her. "You don't have to fall. Not quickly, not all at once." His voice softened further. "Just lean, if you want to." A tear escaped Emily's eye, quiet, gentle. Noah lifted his hand, slowly, carefully, and wiped it away with his thumb. A touch so soft, it felt like a promise being spoken without words. Emily didn't pull back. She didn't need to. The sky above them shifted into deeper shades of violet, the stars glowing faintly, as if listening close. Emily whispered, "What if I lean and everything breaks again?" Noah stepped just a little closer, his voice warm enough to heal something inside her. "Then I'll be here to help you stand again." Silence followed, but not the kind born from distance, the kind born from truth. Emily looked at him longer than before, letting the moment sink in, letting her heart speak through the quiet between them. "Noah, I don't want to be afraid anymore." He exhaled, a breath filled with relief and tenderness. "You don't have to be." He offered his hand, not demanding, not expecting, just offering. Emily stared at it, hesitating only a moment before finally placing her hand in his. Her fingers fit into his like something the universe had been waiting to align. Their hands remained together, as the night settled around them, worn and soft, as if the stars themselves were holding them gently. Something had changed. Something quiet. Something precious. Not love, not yet, but the beginning of it. Soft, patient, and beautifully real. The next evening arrived with a sky full of stars, more than usual, as if the universe itself wanted to witness something beautiful. Emily walked toward the bridge with a feeling she couldn't name. Something warm, something nervous, something quietly hopeful. She found Noah leaning on the railing, sketchbook unopened, eyes lost somewhere in the sky. He looked up when he saw her. His smile wasn't wide, but it was full of tenderness, full of something deep and steady. Emily stepped beside him, their shoulders almost touching. "You're early," she said softly. Noah laughed under his breath. "I didn't want to miss anything." Emily felt a flutter in her chest. They watched the river glow beneath the moonlight, the world quiet around them. After a long moment, Noah spoke, voice low, careful, vulnerable. "Emily, I turned down the out-of-town job." Emily's breath caught. "What? Noah, why?" He didn't look away, not this time. "Because something finally feels right here." Emily's heart trembled. "You shouldn't give up something important because of me." Noah shook his head gently. "I didn't give anything up. I chose something." He took a small breath. "I chose to stay where my heart feels at peace." Emily looked at him the way someone looks when they realize the world is offering them something they thought they'd lost forever. She whispered, "Noah, why me?" He smiled softly. "Because when I'm with you, I feel like I'm breathing for the first time in years." Eyes shimmered, not with pain, but with overwhelmed softness. Noah stepped slightly closer, not to rush her, but to let her know he was there. "Emily, I don't want to be another P." Emily swallowed, her voice trembling. "I don't know how to do this." Noah's voice gentled even more. "Then we'll learn together, slowly, carefully, at your pace." The stars above them scattered themselves like tiny blessings. Emily took a deep breath, a breath that carried all her fears, all her hopes, and all the quiet longing she'd been afraid to name. Then she stepped closer, close enough that their hands touched once more. But this time, she didn't pull away. Noah looked down at their hands touching lightly. He didn't take her hand. He waited. And Emily, with a soft exhale, slipped her fingers between his. Their hands intertwined as naturally as breathing, as if this moment had been waiting for them long before they ever knew each other. Noah whispered, "Emily." She looked up. His gaze held no pressure, no demand, only love in its earliest, purest form. "I'm not asking for forever," he said softly. "Just the chance to be someone who doesn't hurt you." Emily's heart broke, not from pain, but from the healing she had never expected. A single tear slipped down her cheek. Noah brushed it away gently, his thumb warm, tender, steady. "You deserve someone who stays." Emily whispered back, "Stay then." Noah smiled, a real smile, full and warm like sunrise. He lifted his forehead and touched it to hers. Not a kiss, not yet, just closeness, soft, respectful, beautiful. Emily closed her eyes. I was afraid of falling again. Noah whispered, then don't fall, just lean. Emily breathed a trembling laugh as she leaned into him, their foreheads still resting together. Moments passed, minutes maybe. Time didn't matter anymore. Noah slowly opened his sketchbook and placed it in her hands. It's finished. Emily turned the page. It was them, standing together under a glowing starline, hands intertwined, souls gently touching. Her breath softened. Noah, it's beautiful. He looked at her with a tenderness that felt like home. So is this moment. Emily closed the sketchbook and held it to her chest, as if holding the beginning of something precious. Noah wrapped an arm around her, not tightly, just enough for her to feel safe, and she leaned into him fully, letting the warmth settle into every empty space inside her heart. The stars shimmered above them, casting soft silver light over the bridge where their story began. And as the river whispered below, Emily finally felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace, safety, warmth, and the gentle truth that love doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes softly, like a quiet stranger with a sketchbook who shows up on a lonely evening and stays. Narration fade. Sometimes it comes softly, like a quiet stranger with a sketchbook who shows up on a lonely evening and stays. Narration fades softly. Some hearts aren't meant to collide loudly. Some are meant to meet gently, under starlight, under silence, under fate. And when they do, the world becomes a little softer.